You know I love you, Bo. I nothing but love for you. And before this moment, because I used to hear this as a kid, right? And it's interesting now that I'm older. I used to hear people who come from broken backgrounds always have this same type of narrative. They say that if you raise your child right, when they get out, they're going to wild out because they don't know anything else. I think that sometimes we as a community don't have enough positive experiences to know that to not be true. Because most children, when they're surrounded, and I'm talking truly, not this broken households, not these baby mamas, I'm talking like tribes, like the actual family unit where they got uncles and aunts and things that are healthy, not this dysfunctional crap, right? Or dysfunctional. And sometimes I think that we give too much credit to where an individual person needs all of these experiences to develop into oneself to know that this is good because I had a bunch of bad. That's ass backwards, as my mother would say.
I heard somebody say self-sufficient and independent, and I'm not really sure if that was distinguished, but um, I would say I think Bo had said this, like, why can't both of those things happen at the same time? Um, the way that I grew up, I had both my parents. I saw my mom do things that, helped in terms of taking care of my dad, but those were also skills that she taught us to learn how to do. So when we went out on our own, we knew how to take care of ourselves. So the submission part was the modeling that came from seeing them interact, and how she was as a wife. But she also taught us independent skills to be able to take care of ourselves, because once we leave our covering at home, we still need to be able to function. So I don't think that those things they should occur concurrently. I don't think it needs to be a separate skill, because not everybody may end up married. So you're so the skills that you learn as a wife are also skills that you need to take care of yourself.
Yeah, I'm kind of have to agree with what most are saying. They both set the premise. I would say both. I don't know why we struggle with creating a divide. A wife is a certain conditioning mindset and a grooming of sorts. You don't necessarily have to ever marry to have wife-like qualities or wife-like perspective, right? But you should, if you're a caring parent, should provide your children both, but in this case a daughter, the ability to transition from being single to married because of those life skills and those applicable things. At the same time, a wise parent is also going to equip that child with the ability to sustain individualism in situations in life where the parent can't oversee. Like when they're on a college campus, learning how to communicate. These are just life skills. So us dividing it, I don't know why people do that, especially when it comes to women. She should be a whole person, a whole adult. She should come equipped to tackle whatever life has in front of her if she had the proper rearing. And I'll land.
So I think what we're missing is that the you have to be some sort of self-sufficiency in order to be a good productive wife. You can't actually be one without the other. And you should have being taught wife skills kind of goes along with what True was saying and what Bo had said previously, how you need to be able to have both, because you I think we got to be honest, you won't be able to be a wife until you're in that position, because you can't be a wife to everybody, but you can attain wife skills to where you can be seen as a wife, if that makes sense.
Should we raise our daughters to live their best lives? And I'm not talking about being for the streets, but necessary discovering who she is, traveling the world, getting a little bit more culture, figuring out what it is that she likes and what she don't likes. Because if she get into a marriage and she hasn't done so, then she may go astray. How do you guys feel about that? Go ahead, Courtney.
Um, I would say I agree with that as long as it's within the confinements of being with me while doing it. And the reason I say that is because I'm able to give her a little rope just in case she hangs herself. I'm able to pull her back in, right? Because again, we save our children from them. We protect our children from themselves. We're not doing it to be controlling. That's where a lot of people get this shit fucked up because they think that, oh well, I just need to go out there and let them explore the world by themselves. Have we not seen the movie Taken? So, and I'm just using that. I'm just using that as an example, right? Just being funny in that aspect. But to be honest, I would rather her experience life with me as my daughter, me taking her on these different experiences and different trips and everything, so she can get some culture and understand life and how the world is working outside of the United States in itself, in other cities and other places. And then we can come back and then I can also teach her and guide her as well. Because guess what? I'm going to be learning as well as we go into these other countries. So now we're both learning at the same rate. And the things and based on my own personal experiences. So I think, yeah, I do agree with that. As long as she's doing it within the confinements of her parents.
I got you, Bo. I'm coming to you. I just want to add on to her getting into her career because we know how high the divorce rate is. And we've seen how a lot of women, once they are divorced, they don't know what to do. They haven't been able to discover who they are because their whole life depended on that male. So I also want to add that into the play with this question as far as her learning herself, her getting her own identity. So in an event that something happens, she won't hit rock bottom. Go ahead, Bo.
So I think that we have seen in real time, I mean, if you pay attention, what it could look like, what it has looked like when people don't like get to experience life for themselves, don't figure out who they are, don't have any fun, don't do anything before getting a partner. I think that we teach boys to go out and sow their royal oats before they get married, but we teach our daughters to save it till marriage. And so then you got women who get older who might marry young, and then if a divorce happens, now she for the street. Cause she ain't never had any type of experience with anything with that man, or she left that man because she ain't never had no like we gotta let people live the lives that they need to live. Some people just need to experience life. And I'm not talking about like, partners. I'm not talking about like sexual partners. I'm talking about just life in general. We have to let people know what it's like to be by themselves, because then you get this wife that is dependent on you, like socially, that she's attached to you, she's in your skin because she doesn't know how to be by herself, she doesn't know who she is by herself. You need a woman like that. So you can do both. You can be independent, you can know who you are, and you can also be a very great wife that settles in and is perfectly happy just being a wife because she knows about life outside of you.
You know I love you, Bo. Got nothing but love for you. And before this moment, because I used to hear this as a kid, right? And it's interesting now that I'm older. I used to hear people who come from broken backgrounds always have this same type of narrative. They say that if you raise your child right, when they get out, they're going to wild out because they don't know anything else. I think that sometimes we as a community don't have enough positive experiences to know that to not be true. Because most children, when they're surrounded, and when I'm talking truly, not this broken households, not these baby mamas, I'm talking like tribes, like the actual family unit where they got uncles and aunts and things that are healthy, not this dysfunctional crap, right? Or dysfunctional. And sometimes I think that we give too much credit to where an individual person needs all of these experiences to develop into oneself to know that this is good because I had a bunch of bad. That's ass backwards, as my mother would say, because it's not true. typically when you do your job correctly and you submerge your child in an environment where they're protected and you did your job again correctly, there's no need to experience the adverse of what's good. And we always do this. Like, I've heard this a lot, especially when it comes to girls. If she has a good man, she in somehow, some way that doesn't work out, now she needs to go experience it. She's only had vanilla sex, then she needs to know what it's like to have her head put through the mattress. I don't believe that to be true, only because I've seen it. I've seen it in environments, in young ladies that, and men will tell you this. We know who you can't touch. We know who you can't smut out. Because when you meet her, she comes to you differently. You can't just take her out on a date. She won't even entertain it because there's too many layers of protection. But I agree with you to the standpoint that we should have experiences. I just disagree where it always has to be, I guess, the negative side of it in order for the good to balance. Or maybe that's not what you said, but that's what I heard. So
no, I respect that that's what you heard. That's not what I was saying at all. I wasn't saying like we need to go through bad to get to the good. I wasn't talking about that at all. I'm just talking about experiencing life. I'm just talking about like living life. Because I was that person. I was that kid that was sheltered. I didn't get exposed to nothing. I didn't watch Boys in the Hood till I was in my mid-20s. I didn't get to watch any of those movies, right? So like I wasn't really exposed to, I didn't get to go out. I didn't get to hang out with my friends. I never went to a sleepover. And we know what I did after high school. So let me tell you something. While your children are in your, because I was mishearing Courtney at first when he was saying that, and I was like, I was half listening, and then I caught on to what he was saying, and I was like, what? And he wasn't saying what I thought he was saying. I understand him now. While your children are still in your presence and you still have influence over their life, you need to allow them to go further than your eyes view so that you can control the things, right? Let them go and experience life just a little bit, because you can still control, you can still navigate, you can still direct. Right? So it doesn't have to be bad, but they do have to see something, because they're going to get somewhere and act like they ain't never been nowhere. I can attest to that. Please let your kids live this life a little bit. So then when they get married, like when I got married, I was cool. I had done it all. Don't worry about it. I'm cool. I'm sitting my ass down. I never cheated. I never did none of that, because I got to experience life. And I'm not talking about bad things. So I was very content in my marriage. I would never, like, if we didn't have the problems that we had, I would never have left. I wanted to be bored with life. Like, we need to get them to a point where they're just kind of like content with being there. That's all I was saying.